I have been looking forward to having this conversation for about 10 days now. About 10 days ago, I was interviewed by Ryan Pineda and Brian Davila. And let's just say it was one of the most frustrating 2-hour discussions I've ever had. We basically agreed to have this discussion because Brian, as you will see in the video, was very negative. Ryan was somewhere in the middle. And of course, I was the one rental at a time guy. The conversation was basically supposed to be, what should we do in 2026? That's how the video started. And then it went sideways. And it was, if you actually know me at all, you could probably see multiple points during the video where I was nearly screaming and jumping off the couch. But yes, I held myself back. Dion, I know you suffered through that 2-hour discussion. I'm curious what you thought. Anything jump at you right away?
Well, I could see why you wanted to scream, because that would be the only way we could hear you, because they kept talking over you anytime you had a valid point.
Yeah, there was a bunch of that.
Sounds right.
I'm a little sad I'm going first because I want to play cleanup after Matt, because I know that's going to be epic. But I'll start with the best thing I heard in the video from not Ryan, but his co-worker.
Brian.
I think his name, right?
Yeah.
He said, because his 30 rentals aren't cash flowing, that he is taking 2026 to stabilize his rental portfolio.
Yeah.
Now, had I the chance to interview him, I would ask him the following questions. Because he started in 2016 acquiring rentals. How many times has he tapped the equity, but not for his rentals? Because even that, you guys tapped equity several times to grow your portfolio, to add to cash flow, to add to unit count, to add to stability options. How many times has he tapped equity because it's a lump sum of money for his next flip, for his next wholesale problem that he had pop up? And so I can't even make an assumption on if that's ever happened, but that would have been where I would have dug down to figure out. And before I let it turn over to Matt, the one thing that really stood out was the guy saying over and over, he has 30 rentals and they don't cash flow. That's why he focuses so much on flipping and wholesaling, which is an active income job. It's great. It's why I focused on my W-2 before I retired. It's why you focused on your W-2 before you retired. You have to have income, whether it's from your entrepreneurship or from your work. But it seemed like the 5 rabbits strategy of chasing everything never let them master one well enough, except for putting information together for other people in the form of a course, right? It was really rough. Like, I want to hats off to you for making it through there and not walking out, right? Or being so argumentative that they wouldn't play the episode.
Right.
That was
it could have gone that way. Yeah, it certainly could. Well, Matt, one of the things that
should have gone that way.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I actually remember driving home going, that was horrible. It's like the only conversation I remember leaving going, that was horrible. I don't feel good about it. But Matt, you actually helped me build, excuse me, the 3 steps to getting wealthy. And it was really step 2, become a lead at something. And this is frankly where Brian and frankly Ryan at some level have failed spectacularly. What I mean by that, because I know you didn't watch the video, so I'm just want to tee it up for you.
I couldn't.
I understand. I mean, people don't like all content creators, and that's okay. But basically, Brian has had, 5 different strategies in a decade. And that's where I tried to get the conversation to go at multiple points. I'm like, Brian, you keep saying you've been doing this for 10 years, but you reset every 2 years. And when you do that, you don't learn anything. You go back to zero, right? So to say you've been doing this for 10 years when you did, Southern California, and then you did Big Bear, and then you did long-term, and then you did short-term, and then you did out-of-state, then you did Section 8, you did blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you're learning nothing. No wonder you're stressed out. Your portfolio is a complete cobbled together combination of crap. And to Dion's point, you've never taken the time to trim it and make it work for you. It's just like, and then Ryan says, the last thing before I throw it to you, Matt, he goes, oh yeah, I tried that. I bought 5 properties in 5 cities in 5 months. I'm like, God, what kind of disaster is that? So Matt, talk about becoming elite. And, if you don't become elite, you're just going to get run over.
I mean, it sounds like he had 5 bad ideas that he threw 5 piles of money at, that he tried to get successful 5 different ways. And then he found 5 different ways to fail. That's how it goes. You cannot be that spread. You just can't be. The riches are in the niches. And so what does that mean? That means that no one can be everything to everybody. When you become elite at something, it's because you put in at least the 10,000 hours.
Right.
When you do something for 2 years, even if you did it full time, which we all know he didn't,
Yeah.
that's 4,000 hours. So you either are so arrogant as to think that you're smarter than everybody else, or that you've created some way of doing things that no one else had ever thought of before, which to me, both are the height of arrogance. The riches that I found in my niches, I'll give you a perfect example. One of the things that we teach in my course is how to uncover value in assets. We call them assets. We don't call them properties. We call them assets. So one of the things that we've done is we understand our local zoning laws. Did I start out day one knowing my local zoning law? Did I start out year 2 knowing all of my local zoning laws and how all they work and how all of the city council members react to the proposal of those types of projects? I did not. It took me 5-10 years to really understand these are the type of assets that they like. These are the ones that they like to convert to residential. So every single thing that comes on my market, I look at it with a different lens than all of my quote unquote competition. It's because of that lens that it helps me become elite. Last night we had a big win with our city because we took a property that if it were a licensed duplex, if it were a house that was an actual duplex and I tried to buy it off market for what it would have cost me about $500,000. Instead, I bought a commercial property for $182,000 that we now have approved to use as residential. Now, everyone can do the math on what a $150,000 mortgage is.
Right.
It's not much, less than $1,000.
Yeah.
But we will rent out those units for $1,600 to $1,800 a month, and that one building will cash flow $3,400 to $3,600 a month. And now my net cash flow is going to be what? Probably a couple of grand. Let's just call it $2,000 a month. Mm-hmm. How many people in the audience right now today, and you can put it in the subject line, how many of you guys would love to own a rental that nets $2,000 a month?
Today.
That didn't cost you $1 million, because we're talking about return on capital. So when I say all of this, it's to help people understand that time in the market is what matters, not timing the market. Because it sounds like that other guest was just chasing waterfalls. Like he's never going to get there. He's always going to be the last guy on the deal wagon. So people need to understand that becoming elite is what's important. And the only way that you can do that is time in your market, recognizing all of the things that move around your market, who the big players are, what the assets are like, what the town wants to see. Be aligned with what the town wants to see happen in their town. If you're pushing against the water and swimming against the tide, like a salmon, I got bad news. If you're swimming upriver, you're likely going to die on the path, or you're going to get there and then you're going to die and your dead body's going to roll down. Yeah. So people need to understand, to become elite, it becomes taking a bunch of time in your area, becoming an expert, understanding whether or not you self-manage or you use property managers. Hey, Mike, do you know Fresno?
Yes.
A little bit, right?
A little bit.
You know more than 97 or 98% of the investors in Fresno.
No question.
Right. But you have property managers manage the day-to-day.
Oh,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. The idea is you go into it knowing what the market looks like, knowing what it needs to be, and knowing where the riches are. And then it's just up to them to management, because you don't want to deal with the tenants, termites, and toilets. And that's a fine strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Time again, this was I tried to get there a couple of different times because, again, Brian, again, the one who was, he's often called the bald guy. That's what he's called in a lot of the comments. If you go back and look at the comments, he loves to say he's been doing it for 10 years, but to your point, he hasn't. He's just restarting. And I think Dion brought it. He's just chasing waterfalls or bunnies or whatever it is. And it's always the next hot thing. And that's not a recipe for long-term success. And oh, by the way, if you're buying these things and you keep changing strategies, they're just going to start crumbling because you're not learning the lessons around it. And no wonder you have 30 properties and no cash flow. Dion, we're going to go back to you because another point of that interview, I tried to get Brian to talk about his buy box, and both of them instantly pushed back, saying Brian looks at a lot of properties.
Whatever.
And you know, they just went on a long ramble. But where I wanted to take that conversation, and again, this is for the audience. If you're somebody like Brian Davila and you're looking at, I don't know, probably 50 properties a day. However, there are 50 properties a day in 25 different markets.
Yeah.
You're not learning anything.
You aren't.
You're just not learning. So again, I would argue that Brian's looking at too much. And he can't get economies of scale, right? That's why the buy box is so powerful. It's not because it's a set of criteria that produces a finite list. It's a set of criteria that ignores everything else. What do you think of that, Dion?
Well, I want to spread shade equally.
Yeah, that's fine.
If somebody came to me and said, hey, let's go on a podcast so you could talk about wholesaling and flipping, and I went on there and I talked about it, people should call me an idiot and a retard.
Yeah.
Because it's not my wheelhouse.
Yep.
I don't know enough to give any even like 3,000 level view of, hey, here's what it should do, because it's not what I've done. So if I was in their world, I would be the idiot. And it's because I'm uneducated. It's not because I don't know what I'm doing. I would take the time to learn if that was my asset class. And so when I turn it away from the other bald guy to Ryan, he said two things that explained to me, and since they both agreed with this, they don't understand how rentals work. The first thing Ryan said was, why would I buy a place that makes $200 a month? That's not life-changing.
Yeah.
And have you guys ever bought a property that only made $200 a month?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course.
I bought 3 that were break even, basically, that I had to do value add or wait for the mushroom farm to go away or have a tenant turnover or do the binder or something. Right. So yeah, I get it. It's not life-changing. But 10 years later, how many properties did you purchase that made $200 or less that are now making $1,000 or more per unit?
Yeah.
Almost all of
That's
them.
100% of mine. 100% of mine are maybe they weren't all making 200 or less in the beginning, but they're all making more than $1,000 a unit now, primarily because I optimized it all the way along. I didn't wait till financial freedom and then go and strategize to make it better. All the way I did value add. I did the binder. I did lower or raise the premium or raise the deductible to lower the premium. I shopped around for insurance. I did all these things to increase cash flow, including stay on top of rents, not keeping them at maximum, but keeping them at the right level. And so that was the first thing that he said that kind of said, okay, he doesn't get rentals. The second thing he said was, especially if it's making $200 a month, 5 years, I replace a roof and I lose years worth of cash flow, meaning he doesn't understand that expenses don't impact cash flow if you're setting aside for future repairs and maintenance. So I set aside 15%. That currently on my portfolio, that's $5,700 a month of gross rents, 15%. And so that's like $68,000 a year. And my most expensive year so far, when I had a roof and a septic system and some other repairs like a garage door, all together was $36,000. So even in that most expensive year, there was about 20 grand or so in excess in my set aside funds. And so, yeah, in the first year, when you buy a property and the water heater goes out, it feels like it's right out of your pocket because your reserves are probably going to cover that, or your cost to acquire will put a roof on in that first year if you have to. But 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, your tenants pay for those things. The gross rents, the money that you calculated in your pie tie, you have to put the E at the end of the pie tie to have the expenses in there that you're setting aside. And so somebody who's doing wholesaling and flipping, what do they care about setting aside for future repairs, maintenance, and maintenance? Those are active jobs, offloading properties that you either find and never own or own, work on, and then get rid of. So if I was speaking in their wheelhouse, I'm the idiot. So that's why I preface before I call anybody else a name. If they're speaking in my wheelhouse and they don't do it and they point out that they're not doing it right, they're the idiot.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing that there's so many other points I have on my notes I want to bring up with you guys. Probably the most glaring example of the three of us talking is I see the world through a W-2, right? A job. And they are both clearly entrepreneurs.
Sure.
You know, Ryan's the unicorn of unicorns of entrepreneurs and Brian's catching up. But it's just and the reason I bring this up is they seem to be in a race to replace income. And I've never thought about it that way. I've always thought about this as being wealth generation. Sure, after 15 or 16 years, I now live off my portfolio, but that was never the mission. The mission wasn't race to the end so I can, have my income replaced. It was to build a better financial future. So Matt, talk about, that just different lens, because of the three of us, you are, the best blend of both entrepreneur and employee.
Yeah, thanks. I think so. I mean, I had to do it for 23 years, so I would hope so. Or 24 actually. So, I think that yes, entrepreneurs think very differently. They are very boom bust. Most entrepreneurs that become millionaires, like multimillionaires, they go bankrupt at least a couple times.
True.
So that's what happens. And that's a really painful thing. I've seen friends go through it. I've seen friends with great ideas, and I've seen friends do it with horrible ideas too. But I've seen them have that third chance at it, and it was like, holy crap, that third time really worked.
Yeah. But they're not gonna miss again. Yeah.
Right. But to that end, they were learning because they were doing the same thing over and over and over again with tweaks and massaging this differently and doing this differently. And so it was very different. I think that entrepreneurs so the cool thing with me was I got to run my business like an entrepreneur, but I had the safety net of a W-2 job. So I was aggressive in growth, as aggressive as my time would allow me. But I think that I think the biggest and most important step that everyone can understand is that when you own a business, you have to be an operator. You have to be an operator. You have to know how to operate it. Now, to Ryan's credit, he's got a big team now, and he probably sits down and maybe he gets a spreadsheet on a weekly basis or sits down with team leads on a weekly basis and then has to give them a rah-rah and say, hey, that's not good enough. We need more.
Sure.
That's likely what happens, right? That's probably what happens.
Probably a solid guess.
In most companies, right?
Solid guess.
The challenge is that you can't get blood from a stone. And when ownership doesn't create catalysts for the employees to then allow for that level of growth. Hey, I want to see twice as many sales. Great. Are we going to market twice as much? Do we have something innovative in our product? What do we do to earn that 2x? Well, just more of the same. Well, that's stupid, and you're a bad leader. Right. And I'm not saying that that's what he is. I don't know. I've never sat in his meetings. Right. So I think that the key to this is, as people recognize as they're going down this path, the idea is and you can retire a multimillionaire. That's the idea.
That's the idea. Absolutely.
So that's going to work for most people because 4 is manageable enough with systems and processes and becoming a lead at something in your market.
Yes.
4 is enough. It really, truly is enough. Yeah. If you want to really turn this thing into a business and go Mike's route or Dion's route or my route, Dion will likely shrink in size over the next few years. Not him physically, but his portfolio.
Not eating in Thailand, I'm not going to shrink.
Yeah. All the clothes are tighter, right? And bigger size swims and sweatsuits or scuba suits. But Mike, for you might in the next, hard downturn, you might go up to 300.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Right? You might go up to 300, but you also might say, you know what? I'm good where I'm at. And in fact, this is the opportunity to get rid of some of those single family assets and not replace them and just take money out of the game.
It's funny you bring that up. I mean, I've been pretty clear with my audience. Olivia and I are currently executing a couple of cash out refis, going to put, hundreds of thousands. But if you want to step back and look at the big picture, we're on the cusp of raising 7 figures via a couple of activities because I see the opportunity, to your point, of busted syndications. And again, to your point, it's so well said. I'm not going to guarantee you I'll strike. I just want to have the ability to pull the trigger if I do, because I know it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to. We've seen portfolios start to get sold off here. We saw one that was, around 11 or 12 million bucks that was for one building, another 12 million for another building, and 10 million for another building. And so we've seen that. We've seen that recalibration in the market. And I don't know if those are forced sales or not. They very well could be.
Could be, yeah.
But that's what we're going to continue to watch and see. And when the right perfect deal happens, this is where the 10,000 hours of work and investment come down to I can execute very quickly on this and win because it's fit all my criteria. Now I can move.
Yeah, I got two more things I definitely want to talk about. We're gonna save the one that really bugged me the most for the last. So we're gonna go back to where we started, because again, I accepted coming to this conversation, which in fairness, I knew was going to be with Brian and Ryan, so it wasn't a surprise. But I thought we were going to talk about 2026. And my thesis going into that meeting was 2026 was going to be great for guys like us, operators, grinders, 100 offers, follow up, because again, we have less competition. We have 80% less wholesalers. Good. We have 50% less real estate agents. Good. We have 60% less mortgage brokers. Good. Now, when I say those things in a room with Ryan Pineda and Brian Davila, that's probably not good for their business. Right. I've been to WealthCon. I've spoken at events. I know both guys. Their business is certainly not doing as well as it was 2 years ago. So again, coming at this from, I'm glad to see the pretenders disappear and go back to being Starbucks barista. Probably doesn't feel good. Maybe I could have been a little bit more kind, but I'm excited that all these people are gone. I want less competition. And that's what I think 2026 is. Dion, did that come through or did you get lost in the conversation?
No, it came through. The part where you were talking about doing the cash out refinances in the video, I don't want to say irritated me. Scared me. Because my little caveman brain did the math.
Yep.
I could take out 7 figures.
Sure.
But just pull out $1 million in equity. And my cash flow would still be $15,000 a month, even if I didn't buy another property. So what world do I live in? Because I make about $22,000 a month right now in pure cash flow. That's after expenses and everything and taxes and everything. So I pull out $1 million, add $1 million in debt at 7% interest. I'd be paying around $7,000 a month for principal and interest. That's the reduction from 22, leaving me with 15,000. I could survive on 15,000 and have $1 million in the bank. Like, that's too tempting, but I'm not gonna.
By the way, just so you know, I got 599, so it would.
Right, I ran bad math to see how bad could it be, so it could only be better than 7%.
Yeah. So, but again, we had this conversation, Matt. When was this? 4 years ago, when we told him to refi when rates were
2021.
Yeah,
2021. We both were very focused on making you do that, and you didn't. I don't know why you wouldn't extract $500,000. I got to tell you. And again, it's not that you need the $500,000 or the $1 million. It's the opportunity cost of not having it when you need it. Because I think what you're going to find, if I'm right, sometime over the next 18 months, we are going to finally see what Matt called forced sells.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to move quick because there's the amount of money on the sidelines. You guys don't understand. It is. I mean, every 7-figure person I know and some 8 figures, they're like, I am ready. Yeah. Because we know all these freaking things are coming. It's just math. So I would push you maybe $1 million, just not palatable, but dude, go get $500,000. Go get that one asset with some debt on it. And again, you could set it on the side. And you know what? If no deal shows up for 2 years, pay it off. Just move it over. What do you think of that, Matt? Oh, go ahead. We'll go to Matt first.
Go ahead.
That's what shows the power of the decade of being an investor. There is no way if I had I not invested that I could just go say, I'm going to go tell the bank with certainty, give me $1 million, and they're going to give me $1 million. And I still don't have to go back to work. Like, it's just a weird way that the world turned out. And that's what told me that the 2 gentlemen in the video who do wholesale and flipping, because they can generate a lot of money. Yeah. And they have teams of people generating a lot of money.
For sure.
Aren't investors. That's active income that stops if you stop. And I will take investor over entrepreneur every day.
Yeah, I mean
Matt's
again,
better because he mixes. Yeah, but he's still an investor.
No, I would argue he's an investor first. He just has entrepreneur traits. But yeah, I mean, I go back to that cash flow quadrant, and it's becoming more and more important to me. It's funny. It's the second book of Robert Kiyosaki I read. And I really didn't give it any credit until like the last 5 years. And it's that damn quadrant, right? employee, small business, big business investor. I spent my life after reading that book going, I want to be an investor. And all I've been trying to do is go from employee to an investor. I think people like Ryan and Brian, they think you got to go, don't want to be an employee. So start a small business, grow the small business, become a big business, and then become an investor, right? Kind of invest the difference. That just sounds like a lot of work to me, Matt.
It's definitely a lot of work. I work harder in my portfolio than both of you do, but my return, right. But my returns are much higher.
Sure.
So I'm getting paid for my time.
Yep.
So, and I recognize that. And the time for me to grow it now or decide what I want to do, being 48 and having a couple of years until I'm 50, having my kids around where I still get to have a lot of fun and take 2 weeks in Vegas, for the amazing one rental at a time event, so I'm there a few days early. So I'm there a few days after. Yeah. I think that people just need to, like Dion and I talk a lot about, is right sizing your business, right sizing for yourself. Mm-hmm. And so, we've done a lot of our collabs. It's been just about right sizing. Dion's really happy with his life and I'm really happy with my life. Dion wouldn't want my life and I wouldn't want Dion's life. I'd be too afraid of getting harpooned in the bay in my wetsuit. So from my perspective, I really enjoy doing the parts that I get to do. The cool thing is as you get bigger, you can decide what parts you want to focus on. And I think the key to it is, in order to get to 100, you got to get to 4 first.
Yeah.
Do 4. See how you like it. See what part of the business you really like and enjoy. Maybe you hate all of it and you just go like Zoob did, which is, you know what? We're going to have somebody else manage and take care of all this stuff. I'm just the deal guy up front.
Right.
Just not minimizing the role. Hardest thing to do is find the deal. Managing is the easier side of things, especially when you have systems and processes. So I think
for everybody, caveat?
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Get to 4 in one market.
Yeah.
Not all in the same year.
Yeah. Yep. Let's not do it. Yeah.
I wouldn't just go buy 4 if you have the ability, because you're going to make all of your mistakes on 4.
Well, then
stabilize, learn from your mistakes.
Then you're Marcus Shiro, and that worked out really well. I mean, he's been taking himself.
He's good 5 years later.
Right.
But it took 5 years to go
5 years of nightmares and, and all of the garbage that you got to go through. Yeah. And that's really painful. Like, no one wants to sign up for pain. And you can make it as painless as possible if you house hack. That's about as painless as possible.
Yeah. The 4-3-2-1 strategy. I mean, any chance I get to talk to the younger generations, that's the thing I give them. I'm like, hey, do you want to retire by 30? Go listen to this lumberjack guy talk about 4-3-2-1, because it's a master
game changing. It's game changing. And then, like I said, you get to pick. I know what everything costs on a job site, and so I know when somebody's ripping me off. I know that me, compared to a lot of other landlords, they'll pay 20 or 30% more to do the same exact job, and it won't be as high quality. And I got it done faster for less money and at higher quality. Well, that's because I spent a bunch of time learning what that was supposed to look like. And when you do it in all sorts of different markets, even for me, I work with guys in Mass or on the border of New Hampshire and Massachusetts, and guys that own stuff in Maine. The markets are completely different. Absolutely. And they're 20 minutes away. When you're talking states, now you're talking about state law differences.
Yeah.
What you're allowed to do by law. So I think that anybody that invests in multiple different states where they're not living in the assets, I think is out of their mind.
Yeah.
I think it becomes very expensive, and it's it's much easier to fail.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the final one that every time I hear Ryan say this or others say this, it pisses me off. It's just like, how out of touch are you? And I think we talked about this near the end of the video, and that is the fact that 20 grand a month is nothing. Right. Acting like $240,000 is poverty. And
he's right though. I believe he's right.
Shut up.
For a flipper or a wholesaler to have a $20,000 month with no recurring income lined up for the next month, that's a nightmare.
Yeah. I can imagine.
So from his perspective, that's the one thing I was like, I had the same knee-jerk reaction. I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, I retired before 20 grand a month, and then now it's past 20 grand a month, and I'm still saving. I'm in Thailand for 3 months. There's about there's between $40,000 and $45,000 more in my account than when I left. Like that's what this trip is like for me. And so, yeah, I think it's possible. But then I sat back and I thought, hang on, he's thinking flipping or wholesaling. I had a $20,000 month. He's unemployed now for the next month. That'd be terrifying.
I think you're being very gracious. And that's not how I heard that conversation go. And again, I've heard him say it enough times. It's basically, why would you buy rentals? This is kind of again, maybe I'm so warped and biased that I'm reading it wrong, and maybe Dion is right. And he probably is. He usually is. But when I hear this talk track, it's like, why would I take $200 a month? And then all these units get up to some number. And then who the hell can live on 20 grand a month? I'm like, almost everybody can live on 20 grand a month. I'm like, are you serious right now? I mean, there are people watching this right now going, Zuber, I live on 8 grand. And, Cody lives like on 4 grand.
Yeah, Cody and I spend about the same every month. It's crazy.
I mean, to say 20 grand a month is like you're living in poverty in your car is just out of touch. And again, Ryan's got big homes and lots of kids. And so 20 grand's not what let's be clear. He couldn't live on 20 grand a month, but most people can, right, Matt?
I mean, I think we do. We're pretty close at this point, but we've got 4 kids. We've got a big mortgage. We do anything we want. We went and got some car payments because we wanted to upgrade vehicles. It was time, you have
a car with heater now.
I do. Yeah. I really needed to spoil myself. I needed to make sure that when Mike came out that he was able to stay in a car that was heated, because I didn't think he would come out again if I had another car that didn't have heat. But yeah, I think that that's really the key. I think that, the biggest difference is kids, because I can tell you I'm sure he's got his kids in private school.
Yeah. Homeschooled, I think.
Okay. So if they're homeschooled, then they do all sorts of fun, wacky things as learning experiences.
Yep.
But yeah, largely speaking, if you're living on 20 grand a month, you're definitely like top 1%. If you're living on 20 grand a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
The income, it's probably not true because the income of a top 1%er now is 7 something.
Sure.
That's what the income is. So after taxes and things, it might be 350. And if you're living in California, it might be 300.
Yeah.
And so, but then you're 25 a month, right? So, but let's face it, $750,000 combined income is a lot. Life is a lot more expensive than it used to be, sure. But when you have multiple homes, I know Ryan does not live in a dump.
No, he lives in a very nice house.
I know he lives in a beautiful home. I know he drives amazing cars. And even if you buy those for cash, it still can be very, very expensive. So 20 grand a month, most people can live on. Certainly in the Midwest, certainly in the South. In big expensive cities, 20 grand a month disappears a whole lot faster. But the biggest factor, honestly, is kids.
Yeah. And he's got a bunch of them. I think he has.
Yeah, Ashley and I could live on like 3 grand a month, 4 grand a month if we didn't have kids. But kids explode everything. They never stop eating. School's expensive.
They never stop growing. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, like clothes and everything. It's crazy.
On that 20,000 a month thing, I think if Ryan is his circle is people who can throw $10,000 to be in a golf club.
Yeah, and that is his circle.
Where the golf is played, that's his circle, right?
Sure.
So 20,000 is probably entry level.
That's like I like where you're going. I would guess because all of us have our circle. I would guess Ryan. Like for example, Ryan was with Grant Cardone yesterday, right? They were together yesterday. So you're right. I think Ryan's circle. I bet you his 5 closest friends don't make less than 100 grand a month. That's just a wild ass.
I'm sure it's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And his target environment to be able to be in a target rich environment is talking to people who $20,000 wouldn't matter to.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
So yeah, I can see it. So I don't want to defend him. I want to think, for the other 99.7% of humans, 20,000 is life-changing money.
But there is a set. That's an excellent point. There's a set of individuals, like you said, it's probably less than 1%, where 20 grand's nothing, and so that might be his world. Yeah.
So I'll call out Graham publicly because Graham said it publicly. I'm watching Caleb Hammer. Graham Stephan.
Oh yeah.
I'm watching Caleb Hammer, and Caleb is like, "Hey, let's FaceTime Graham." So he FaceTimes Graham. Gets Graham on the phone. He's like, hey, they're doing this whole thing about Logan Paul and the fraud that is the Pokemon card, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that, even though I could go for 10 hours on it. The fact of the matter is that Caleb asked Graham, hey, if this thing goes for 5 million, one card, if this thing goes for 5 million, are you the buyer? He said, not at 5 million. I'm like, Caleb better ask a good follow-up question. And he goes, at what number are you a buyer? I was like, thank God Caleb Hammer exists. I love this guy. He says to Graham, he goes, okay, but at what number? And Graham actually said, if that thing sells for between $2.5 and $3 million, I'm a buyer. Wow. That's a Pokemon card from Graham Stephan committing to a $2.5 to $3 million purchase. Now it doesn't matter because the chart's already at $7 million.
Yeah.
But he was willing to be a buyer and write a check for $3 million out of pocket on a card.
It's funny you bring this up. I did an interview with Graham, I guess it was a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, where one of the topics was Floyd Mayweather's house in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't remember the number. That was, and we talked about it after. He's dead serious, right? Yeah. He was like, hey, it was listed at 14 and then 12 and blah, blah, blah. And I forget the last number. I think the last number was like 9 million. Yeah. And I said, like, where are you interested? He's like 7.
Right.
And he's like, I'll just pay cash. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again,
but that's also why him selling all his real estate in LA doesn't fucking matter. That's white noise.
Yes. That's the point. Yeah.
That's noise.
It's a quality of life choice for him. It's not a monetary choice for him.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, Dion, that's my list of things. Since you did watch it and you suffered through it, I was wondering if there's any other themes or topics or questions that you think would be interesting to riff on.
I would really like to see an in-depth interview of Brian's 30 rentals. When purchased, how much equity was tabbed, how much value add's been done, how many markets are they in?
What? Let me sorry to interrupt you there. Again, you're going to be in Vegas for the One Rental at a Time event. Brian and I have a decent relationship. I think there's a better than 50-50 chance I could get him to my event on Saturday. Would you want to go in the podcast room and have that?
And I will be, you know me.
Yeah. I know. I will be gracious. I wouldn't set it up.
I will tell him in advance. Here's the hard questions I'm going to hit you with, so you're not blindsided.
Yep. Yeah.
But have an answer. Like, I want to know, how do you get to 30? And the way I said it in my live stream yesterday.
You don't have to say it anymore. I will call him as soon as we're done with this, and I know how you will handle it. And if he says yes, I will send an email introducing you to, so you can give him the warning, right, or the, whatever. So I'll see if I can make that happen. Again, I don't know that he'll be in town because he does split time between here and California. And he has a kid on the way. So, it could be a last minute change, but I'll make a phone call. We'll see if that can happen. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for doing all you do. Dion, thank you for watching that video. It was probably the hardest thing I've done in a while as far as discussions, because it took a right turn from where I thought we were going in that. So I appreciate you. Dion, where can they find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, where every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a live stream that lasts as long as the questions do, except for the 10th. The 10th, I will be on an airplane.
Yeah, it'll be hard at 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Matt, thanks for all you. Yeah. Come on, get some Starlink. Matt, where can they find you?
Lumberjack Landlord, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. I've missed my last 3 weeks because I've had no voice. I have enough of a voice to make sure tomorrow happens, and we've got a lot to talk about. But yeah, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time on the Lumberjack Landlord, and we'll answer your questions, but we're going to talk about a strategy tomorrow night where I basically doubled my money in 6 months.
Ooh, tune in for that one. Guys, you're amazing. Take care. And Dion, keep living life out loud, man. You're showing us how to do it. I appreciate you. 3 months in Thailand. It's pretty cool.
Loving it.
It's awesome.